Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Hello from Houston. Had to do a move out this week. That was a little stressful. Okay, so for this week's work in Unit 9, for Bennett's fighting for the soul of Germany, now we have, once again, the German Catholic perspective in this newly created German nation following 1871. And it's kind of cool because when I've studied German history, normally it's from the lens of the state or lens of the military, lens of the Protestants, right? Which is all fine and good, but it's also nice to see an author really incorporate one particular group that may not have been the majority, and to see what their perspective was, especially one as uh, as important as the Catholic population, right? So this historical monograph represents a fascinating story of the German Catholic struggle for viability and legitimacy in the newly created nation of Germany, right? So while Bismarck and the liberals are trying to shut them out at every turn by means of force or ridicule even, German Catholics seem to always respond in some form without hesitation and without fear. This is a group that is largely outnumbered, has a vast array of opponents, but they constantly have methods of fighting back, right? And even in an era as tumultuous as the Kulturkampf, an era literally defined by the division between the Roman Catholic Church and the Prussian state, German Catholics sought unique measures of representation. One particular instance that seemed largely successful was in almost every scenario where their opponents thought they had gotten the best of them, right, whether it was German liberals or Bismarck and the Protestants, German Catholics used nationalistic pride and their deep love for the Reich and the Kaiserreich as a powerful sword against Protestants, liberals, and even Bismarck himself. And Germany being a nation recently created out of nationalism, the mutual hatred of their archenemy France and others, German Catholics very strategically used that strategy against those that defied them. So this in and of itself makes absolute sense, right? If someone claims to be upholding the qualities of Germany and is celebrating a proud traditional German heritage that's lasted centuries, the last thing any liberal or Prussian leader can do is challenge them, right? Especially at that point. Doing so would pit whomever against a proud German. And if that were published in a newspaper or made aware to the public, as Germania, the Catholic newspaper had done, the government official or educated liberal's Germanness would then come into question. Okay, it is also important to note how German Catholics did not allow themselves to be shut out during the Kulturkampf. When I first learned of this term, I interpreted it as a Protestant gesture to largely discriminate and tear down anyone who was not a Protestant Aryan. And based on what occurred in World War I and World War II, where the Protestant Germany maintained control, especially in Berlin, I had always perceived this moment to have spelled the demise for Catholics. On the contrary, Bennett's work, even though they did encounter a great many hardships, German Catholics never gave up hope for their representation or means of integration into the Reich itself. They remained resilient and cunning despite being the minority. It really shows the efforts and diligence of the Catholic population despite their many opponents. Also, considering their anti-Semitic and anti-socialist rhetoric in the mid-1870s, it seems as if Catholics truly delved into their own Germanness. These strategies not only seemed nationalistic, but also foreshadowed some of the beliefs of a fascist dictator that would rule only a half a century later. These ideas of divisiveness and exclusion, both racially and economically, not only symbolized a nationalist sentiment, but a German one.